Victor and I were the perfect couple, or so everyone thought. We'd been married for 8 blissful years, living in a beautiful home with our 2 amazing children. He was a successful architect. I was a graphic designer working from home. From the outside, our life was a picture-perfect dream. But dreams can turn into nightmares in the blink of an eye. It all started subtly. Victor began working late more often. He'd come home smelling of a perfume that wasn't mine, and his phone, which used to be left casually on the counter, was now glued to his hand or hidden away. When I'd asked about his day, his answers became vague, short, and dismissive. "Just a long day at the office, honey," he'd say, avoiding my gaze. The loving, attentive man I married was slowly being replaced by a stranger. My heart ached with suspicion. I tried to ignore the gnawing feeling in my gut, telling myself I was being paranoid. After all, this was Victor, my Victor. The man who'd promised to love and cherish me forever. But the little inconsistencies kept piling up. There were mysterious credit card charges for fancy restaurants I'd never been to, and weekend business trips that he'd never mentioned before. One evening, I tried to talk to him. I gently brought up my concerns, how distant he'd become. He flew into a rage, accusing me of being insecure and trying to control him. He twisted my words and made me feel like I was the one with the problem. I was so stunned by his reaction that I'd backed down, apologizing even though I knew I had done nothing wrong. That night, I cried myself to sleep, feeling more alone than ever. The final straw came a few weeks later. It was our anniversary. I had planned a romantic dinner at home, cooked all his favorite dishes, and even bought a new dress. He was supposed to be home by 6. 6 came and went, then 7, then 8. I called his phone, but it went straight to voicemail. Panic started to set in. By 10, I was frantic. Just as I was about to call the police, his car pulled into the driveway. He stumbled in, his shirt rumpled and a lipstick stain on his collar. The smell of alcohol and that same foreign perfume filled the air. He looked at me, at the beautifully set table and the now cold food, and his face was a mask of indifference. "What's all this?" He slurred, as if he had no idea what day it was. My heart shattered into a million pieces. In that moment, something inside me snapped. The woman who had been so afraid of confrontation was gone. In her place was a woman who was done being a fool. The next morning, I confronted him with the lipstick-stained shirt. He tried to deny it, of course. He spun a ridiculous story about a clumsy colleague at a work event. But I wasn't buying it anymore. His lies were so transparent, so insulting. I told him I knew he was cheating and that I wanted the truth. He finally dropped the act. The cold, cruel man I'd seen glimpses of was now in full view. He admitted everything, without a hint of remorse. He said he'd been seeing a younger woman from his office for over a year. He called her his escape from our boring domestic life. He actually had the audacity to say he didn't feel guilty because he believed I would never be strong enough to leave him. He thought I was too dependent, too weak. He underestimated me. His confession was brutal, but it was also liberating. It confirmed what my gut had been telling me all along. I wasn't crazy. I was being betrayed. His lack of remorse was the final nail in the coffin of our marriage. I looked at him, this man I had loved so deeply, and I felt nothing but pity. Pity for how small and pathetic he was. That day, I packed a bag for myself and the children and went to stay with my sister. It was the hardest thing I'd ever had to do, but it was also the most empowering. I immediately contacted a lawyer. Victor was shocked. He never thought I'd actually do it. He tried to win me back, not with apologies but with threats and manipulations. He tried to turn our friends against me, painting me as an unstable, jealous wife. But the truth has a way of coming out. The divorce was messy, just as he'd promised it would be. He fought me on everything, from custody of the children to the division of our assets. He wanted to punish me for daring to leave him. But I had a secret weapon he never saw coming, his own arrogance. During the discovery process, My lawyer uncovered a mountain of evidence of his affair. He had used company funds to pay for lavish gifts and trips with his mistress. He was not just a cheater. He was a thief. When this information came to light, his company fired him and his reputation was destroyed. All those friends who had initially sided with him suddenly disappeared. He was left with nothing but the consequences of his own actions. The court sided with me on almost every issue. I got the house, primary custody of our children, and a generous settlement. Victor was forced to sell his fancy car and move into a small apartment. His mistress, seeing that the money and prestige were gone, left him shortly after. He had lost everything: his wife, his children, his job, and his home. He had gambled it all away for a cheap thrill, convinced of his own invincibility. He thought I would never find out, and even if I did, he thought I would never leave. He was wrong on both counts. My journey wasn't easy. There were days filled with tears and self-doubt. But with the support of my family and a good therapist, I slowly began to heal. I rediscovered myself, not as Victor's wife, but as Naomi. I poured my energy into my career, and my graphic design business flourished. I reconnected with old friends and made new ones. Most importantly, I focused on being the best mother I could be for my children. I showed them what strength, resilience, and self-respect look like. We created a new, happier life, free from the toxicity of their father's lies. Sometimes I hear things about Victor. He's apparently struggling to find steady work and is filled with bitterness and regret. He tries to reach out, sending late-night texts about how he misses our old life. I never reply. My old life is gone, and I wouldn't go back for anything. The pain of betrayal is a heavy burden, but it doesn't have to define you. It can be a catalyst for incredible change and growth. I learned that I am stronger than I ever thought possible. I learned that my happiness is not dependent on anyone else. And I learned that sometimes, the end of one story is just the beginning of a much better one. My story is a testament to the fact that you can overcome even the deepest betrayals and build a life that is beautiful and whole on your own terms. If you're going through something similar, know that you are not alone and you have the strength to get through this. You deserve happiness, respect, and a love that is true. Thank you for listening to my story. If it resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content. Remember to take care of yourselves.